and welcome to Awaz-e-Haqiqat, the voice of truth, which is also dedicated to untabooing some of the South Asian legacies. I'm your host, Chris Malika Bhadra, and today or tonight, depending on whichever part of the world you're looking at us, listening to us from, I'm joined by a very, very special guest all the way from Mumbai, India. I'm joined by Sarah Patka. She's a hotelier by profession, and she is a founder, entrepreneur, and chef of Love and Flower Mumbai. Please go visit her Instagram page, of which she'll be sharing the socials later. I have seen her Instagram. The things that she has made with her love and with her own hands is just awe-inspiring. For someone who's failure at cooking like me, she is someone I will look up to for the rest of my life. On that note, a very good evening, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, good evening, Chris Malika. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so honored.
No, the honor is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. And as I told just now, that what you've done, what you've made is just kind of inspiring, so inspiring. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, Sarah, today we are talking about, I think, two things together. One is women entrepreneurs such as yourself and chefs, right? So women chef and you are an entrepreneur, you bake things. So two things together, I think a lot of people will take a lot of benefit, a lot of inspiration from our conversation in the future. So the first thing first is, you've had quite a significant journey, right? When we first spoke.
Right.
Yeah. In your expertise or in your opinion, what are the factors that impact a woman's ability to lead others?
So I don't think there's one factor. I think there are many factors. But if I have to name a few from the top of my head, it really depends, what kind of upbringing you're getting, where you're coming from. I feel that a person's life as they live, and the instances, the nuances, the experiences that they go through kind of shape and mold them into becoming what they are today, or at a later stage when they grow up. So I feel like those things, as you grow up as a person, where a person comes from, where is an individuality, under what peers is he hanging out, under what limelight has he been grown, how much of his parents have kept them into the magnifying glass, how much of its moves are being noted. I think a lot of these factors actually kind of help impacting a person. Even things like locality, things like, your education, things like where you've worked, what your experiences have been. And even I also feel like people that you have met, in life, the energies that you collide with and the people that you interact with may not be on a day-to-day basis, but maybe just generally your teachers, your peers, your mentors, whoever you have that interaction with, and you kind of, because see, at the end of the day, a person will kind of take that from someone he's looking up to, right? So I think that really speaks a lot about it, and I think that is those if those things come all in alignment, then eventually you start developing those kind of qualities. You're more confident about yourself, you're able to more handle things better, and eventually then when you do all of these things, you are able to lead eventually, right? So I think it's not just one, but there are like many factors that kind of shape a person's character and
Agree.
confidence.
Thanks, Sarah. So leading on to that, so this is a spectrum, right? Leadership is not a one-way road. It's a spectrum of various things, as you mentioned. So the other thing is, the other end of the spectrum is, what are the significant barriers to a female leadership, right? In your journey, Sarah, you started working in a very famous hotel chain. From then you moved on, started your own organization. What were the barriers that you faced from moving on from an employee to a leader?
Again, not to say that there is one, there are really many. I don't want to be a sexist person here and say, but really, I have seen this in my life experiences that men do tend to get uh a little, they're not able to handle it when they see a woman being able to do it. Like, again, I want to say, I don't want to be sexist, but it's just something that I've witnessed, I've seen. I'm not saying all men are like that. I'm just saying that the men that I have come across, because see, in the industry that we work, especially in hotelier, being a hotelier, out of what, 50 men, you will see it's 5 ladies. five women out there.
Yeah.
That's the ratio. That's the ratio of even those who are entering into institutes of hotel management. You'll see more men over more women.
Mm.
And in fact, even when I was in my university and I was learning and I was in that batch, we had a batch of 50 where we had four girls including me and the rest were all men.
Mm.
So it was quite this thing. So I don't want to really put that light out there, but they really do,
Mm.
because you can see that change and shift in behavior.
Mm.
You can see that change and shift in body language,
Right.
you know so especially even in the industry that I've worked in, even in hotels and organizations like Taj or Roy, you name it.
Yeah.
I'm just naming the two out of my head, but there are, the list goes on and on. There are many. So most of these you'll see like men on the top and men taking the charge and men calling the shots.
Mm.
Chefs being chefs also, because considering how much cooking is an art form and universally recognized as a women oriented
Yeah.
activity or something that would relate women with, you actually find yourself being in an organization full of men doing that same activity.
Mm.
And the minute they sense that you're better or even at par with them, there is a bit of complexity, a jealousy, or sort of an envy that comes in,
Mm.
which eventually kind of becomes a barrier. Like if you think about it,
Yeah.
because if I'm moving from a position to another position, at the end of the day, if I do not get a go from them, or if I do not get that approval, or somebody has managed to brainwash somebody and just not get the things done, as one sees in any industry for that matter, it eventually becomes and acts as a barrier.
True.
So I think, and I mean, I don't want to again highlight, of course there are women too, but honestly, because the ratio is so large, it kind of just makes the it kind of just focuses a lot on men itself than on women. I'm
Mm.
not saying women might not be, but in the experiences that I've come from, I have mainly seen like men being all not they're not able to handle it if a woman is exceedingly well in her profession or she's doing it.
Mm.
Uh, but again, like I guess it depends through truly and thoroughly how you are carved as a person, and
Mm.
eventually what you want to do to get to where, right?
True.
So
Yeah.
it kind of all depends on that.
It's true. Yeah, I think your individual journey also kind of is a
Yeah,
testament to how you experience and witness things. I agree.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
I'll now come to women's empowerment, Sarah, because what you're doing,
Hmm.
like in my eyes, women entrepreneurship is one sure getaway to women's empowerment.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
when I have to talk about women's empowerment and compare it to equality,
Hmm.
how do you define the two, like women's empowerment and equality, and what is the difference between
Hmm.
equality and equity when we are talking about women empowerment?
See, women empowerment, the word empowerment, equity, both can are very easily misinterpreted,
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, a lot of people want a lot. So actually, if you really think about it, a lot of women want empowerment,
Yeah.
but when one talks about equality,
Hmm.
then some I have seen this, that some women kind of shy away from it. Like for example, I'll give you, like, it's just a simple example. Like say for example, you're on a date with somebody and you've it's a time for the check. So many people are like, okay, the empowered women will be like, okay, no, I'll also split with you.
Yeah.
But there are some who do not understand the difference between two, where they say that, okay, no, the boy is supposed to provide for me, so he should take the check,
Hmm.
and we are still equal at the end of the day. But that's not how is that being equal
Yeah.
then?
Hmm.
When you are talking about equality, you are talking about everything equal, equal pay, equal respect, equal standard, equal
Yeah. Yeah.
expectation, equal roles to play. But I have seen that a lot of women kind of do not understand the difference between two. Like a lot of people, there's no particular names, but this is just something you see in general.
Hmm.
When you read or when you hear about issues and stuff, you see like so many people are raising questions on feminism, and so
Yeah.
many people are wanting to do feminism, and so many feminists are not entirely feminists and do not portray feministic behavior.
Hmm.
Like this example that I gave you is a very good example of you know, how some women are like, oh, we want feminism, but when feminism comes, they're like, oh no, this is not what it is.
Yeah.
This is your job. This
Mm.
you need to do.
Yeah.
Then that's not the same, right?
Mm.
Because if you're fighting for it, when you're saying I want to be empowered, is mean I want to be financially stable and sound of my own self, right? And at the end of the day, if you're asking for your equal rights, you're asking to be treated equally. When men are getting certain perks and
Mm.
certain comforts, you know, we women are like, okay, we can also, we are also okay with it. But
Right.
again, that's what the terms have been so misunderstood
Mm.
by
Mm.
many, for that matter, that, you know, yeah, sometimes, you know, like it's very rightful of you to ask this question, because many get lost in the understanding of what the terminologies actually mean. When you
Mm.
say you want to be equal, means you want equal of everything. Now, when it comes to sharing financial responsibilities also, it has to be equal. You
Yeah.
cannot shy away from it because of your own convenience,
Mm.
right? So, I mean, this is just an example I'm giving you. There are many nuances like that, you know,
Mm. Mm.
just simple things, like many nuances. So I feel that mainly the terminologies need to be understood properly by women. And you know what? I think it's perfectly fine if you don't want to be equal. I think it's perfectly fine if you want to be empowered, but you don't want to be you know, like those, like if you want your person, your spouse or counterpart to take care of you in certain ways, or if you want you know, you want your savings to be saved, but you don't want your husband saving to be saved and that to be used in the house. I think it's okay, but I think that needs to be addressed out. You
Exactly.
cannot be calling yourself saying that I'm equal, but then you don't want this and you want that also.
Mm. Mm.
You know, then you're just sounding very superficial.
It's
Like, I
hypocrisy.
know I'm still, yeah, I may be sounding superficial by saying that I want, today I want to be empowered, but I don't want to be equal. But at the end of the day, still, at least I'm owning up to it. You're
Mm.
taking ownership of who you are wanting to be and who you are standing out to be.
Mm.
And I think that's perfectly fine, but it's very important to be comfortable in your own skin in terms of really fully well knowing and acknowledging those terms. Like, I don't understand the difference of calling yourself a feminist and then not portraying feministic behavior. You know, like so many feminists, if you see, they're like, they're just kind of labeling men as, oh, men are dogs, oh, men are pigs, oh, men are this. But not all men are like that.
No. Yeah.
Not all men. You cannot generalize something like that.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, there are lots of ifs and buts and, you know, maybes and I don't knows
Gray
from that,
area,
right?
I think. It's a gray area.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. So I feel that as long as you have your terminologies understood and you are absolutely in sound mind to be accepting that, I think that's perfectly fine. Uske baad, if somebody else also is thinking ABC crap about you, it's perfectly fine. Because देखो, at the end of the day, लोग judge करेंगे ही,
mm. Mm.
right? It's a लोग, वो कहते हैं ना, लोगों का तो काम है कहना, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, right?
Mm.
So it's gonna be either way. But at the end of the day, if you're true to yourself and you know that, okay, this is you as a person, this is how you want to be empowered, but you don't want to be equal, that's perfectly fine. But
Mm.
you be true to that.
Yeah.
Don't be saying that I want to be empowered and I want equality, but then when equality is being thrown at you, you completely shy away from it and you be like, no.
And I think
Because any
somewhere
Mhm.
it's also unfair to the men because we expect
Yes,
a lot from the men, but
yes,
we don't give them
yes,
the due where it's needed. So this is one of the
yes.
areas. If I
In
came
fact, day before yesterday, I was reading an article of some newspaper, and there was just one headline about it where it was where somebody said that 1.4 lakh annum package annum earning woman wants
yeah.
a guy with 1
Wow.
CR, right? So I said, I mean, I'm like, what's the problem if he's also 1.5 ka package? It's
Mm.
perfectly fine.
Mm.
You'll have 1.5, he'll have 1.5. 3 lakhs तो घर में आ रहे हैं ना, 3 लाख का तो पैकेज है ना आपका.
Mm.
मतलब आप मतलब then you can't be posing and posting yourself as that. If that is you, then that is you. But then you can't. And again, that article really went haywire. Like so many people had so many opinions. But even eventually, I just thought, I said, okay, at least she's being true to herself. At least she's being vocal about it.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, if you're lying to your own self if you're saying that, okay,
Fine.
I can handle it all and I don't need men and I don't want men. See, at the end of the day, we are existing in nature, and we have to be correlating both of
No,
them, both the
I
species.
think I agree with your point there that whatever you are, you call it out.
Call it out,
But
call it
don't
out.
sail on both the boats that I want this and I want
Yeah, I'd rather have me call out myself than somebody
that.
else calling me
Exactly.
out,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That, oh, she's being this. I said, because I remember reading that article, and instantly there were so many opinions flooding on that post or whatever that
It
article that
kind of
was.
stirred a whole conversation.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it really went, people really got bothered by that. I said, but why? It's perfectly fine. At least she's not pretending to be someone she's not, or she's not, like, if she is, that is her call. If she gets, she doesn't get, that's a later deal. That's, who's to say she
hmm,
gets also someone like that. But the point is that at the end of the day, you are at least being true to yourself, that okay, I'm okay with this much, but I don't want to surpass that much. And
hmm.
I think that's fine. As long as you're accepting it, it's really all right. You
Just
don't have
being
to,
true to yourself. Yeah.
makes you less superficial, yeah, at the end of the
Yeah.
day. I
Right.
think at the end of the day, it's because लोग तो कुछ भी बोलेंगे ही. आप ऐसे बोलोगे तो भी लोग बोलेंगे, आप वैसे बोलोगे तो भी लोग बोलेंगे. At the
I
end of
think
the day,
लोग
it should,
ज्यादा बोलते हैं the minute you proclaim yourself to be a feminist. Like, but I think I'm a feminist. So people assume that, oh, you
right.
must hate all men around. I said, no, being a feminist doesn't mean I hate men
Yeah,
around me. I
yeah,
love the
that's
men
it.
around me. It's just standing up for what's right for me and the other
But
woman.
funny thing is that that is what the notion has become. The
Yeah.
stereotype has become.
Mm,
Anytime you would hear the word feminism or feminist right now, people get so raged and like, oh, she must be hating men. Oh, she must be, like a ball buster, or she must be a this, or she must be a that. And immediately there are labels coming out,
it is, yeah.
that, and that's, I think it's fine if anybody wants to be whoever they want to be, as long as they are true to themselves and then calling it out themselves.
And I
I
think
think after that,
even this whole whirlpool of feminism calls for a whole different conversation altogether.
yeah.
There's so much to be understood there. Probably
And
will.
there are also many kinds of
Oh yeah,
feminists for
yeah.
that matter. Like, not all are the same, and not everyone is a general one. There are so many in that.
Yeah.
So again, generalizing one
Is
just because
unfair.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, it's unfair. It's like the same thing doing it with men, right? If one man is bad to you, you are generalizing them all, calling them dogs and pigs and I don't know what, right? Because they're like, oh, men are trash, men are not loyal. Why? Just because one did
Mm,
one created the issue, one did the goof up. So the same way when we tell men that should not generalize it, that same thing falls for feminists,
yeah.
but same thing falls for women, that same thing falls for any other concept, which has so many opinions coming up for
Mm,
it.
mm, yeah.
So again, yeah, so it's that.
Yeah. It's a long drawn Pandora's box, I think. So we'll keep it aside.
Yeah, it's opening up Pandora's
Yeah.
box.
We'll come back to your journey. Sarah, I wanted to ask you this. In South Asia, we have a very streamlined mindset that when you have a child, we either technically want them to become a doctor, engineer, banker, like these certain professions, right?
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
kind of literally broke that ceiling. You became a hotelier. Now you have your own business. So, in general, how do you push for that systemic change around ideas that are new or not that popular?
I think that built up comes from, just like in my case, I would like to tell you that in my case, I had a very supportive, touch would still have a very supportive system.
Hmm,
Like my parents, they were they were not like, oh, doctor banegi, engineer banegi, ye banegi, you banegi, nothing.
hmm,
You go, you do, you take your call, see where you are fitting, finding your most creative form. And honestly, I think it's very important for parents to realize that when they are around their child, like, see, if you're around your child, you can see their performance, you
hmm,
can see how they are as a human being, living, breathing
yeah.
in front of you. What are their traits, what are their characteristics? So I think around when the time when I was growing up, my parents were very they really understood that at the end of the day, this child is not a studious child. She's a more creative person, because like they've and just academically you would know. I mean, I didn't get the worst numbers and I'm not failed, don't worry about it, but I was not the most student also. I was an average kid, but in terms of I think in each year of school, college, whatever, as I grew up, I think they just kind of understood too that, there's really no point putting her into a place where she will not shine. Because see, if you are telling a studious kid कि okay आपको आगे जाके और पढ़ना है या डॉक्टर करना है, तो बात समझ भी आती है, क्योंकि वो उसको पढ़ने आता है, उनको वो कुछ नहीं तो कुछ तो ला देगा. But if you're telling an unstudious kid, someone who's not into it, that you do it, you are already preparing for their doom, right? So thankfully in my case, my parents had seen that. They're very far-sighted like that, so they saw that coming. And even when we were figuring my academics in terms of what streamline to pick or what to do, they were very, very supportive. They let me do the entire thing. They said, I mean, they helped me across guiding here and there, but eventually they let me figure it out. Of course, they were around for as support systems, and just at spots where I had like really could not fathom or could not, where I just came up to a standstill and I did not know what to do. So they were definitely like, they were around, just like right me by the side, but they were not, they didn't overindulge themselves also in taking that decision for me.
Right.
So I think for parents, it's very important to kind of observe how your kid is at the end of the day. Because if that person is a studious kid, you know how their characteristic, their traits, and you think there is any ounce of capability also, okay, go for it. Make them a doctor, make them a lawyer. Of course, most importantly is their interest. If they're not interested in it, then to baat hi alag ho jati hai. But I'm saying that if the kid is only not studious, आप उनको क्या डालोगे उसमें? Because at the end of the day वो पढ़ेगा नहीं. It's not going to survive. What career will you make at the end of the day? So they had actually realized that thing about me quite I think around my school days only. So they knew very well that okay, this kid is not going to study. She's the more creative kid of the house. So let her be creative. Let her do her creation. Let her be this thing. So that's how I think that's very important for parents to
Absolutely. I agree.
kind of just observe, and that will eventually just help in paving ways. Because see, आजकल के बच्चे तो are very they have like so many things to do, like in terms of hobbies and classes and all. I'm sure when like even when I was younger, I didn't have any all of this music class and singing class and the kids nowadays have. I'm sure even when you were younger, you mustn't be having all this. I mean, school jao, tuition jao, and then just come back and study, and that's it. That was about it. It's today's kids that has so many options also available for them. So I think that itself gives them a big opportunity to explore their traits and their characteristics for themselves, to find out what they are inclined towards. So it automatically makes a little, maybe not fully, but a little easy for the parents to even understand, okay, if my kid is really good in music and art, then I'll put him into that streamline, because of course she will come out with flying colors. But if that kid is not interested, then there's really no point putting it.
True. Absolutely. Now, I agree, and that's a very important message you've given through the mid of the conversation, that it's parents need to be very aware, because it just helps in development of the child also, and not even touching on mental health here, because that's a whole different.
Yeah, of course.
So next thing is, you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business, hotel management, hotel industry, as we common men have heard, is very stressful, right? As an entrepreneur, how do you balance career, personal life, and your passions? And on a difficult day, how do you take care of your mental health as well?
Well, on difficult days, to begin answering with that, on difficult days, I just shut off. I just shut off. I cannot function only because see, the thing is, my work brings a lot of joy to me. Even when I was so it's really funny, when I wanted to actually tell you this, that I remember working in a freezer of the Taj Mahal. I was working at the Taj Mahal Palace back then, and back then I was just like a commie chef. Like I was like a basic intern chef. So I remember we were working, and I was in desserts back then, and they had put me to a task. I was supposed to decorate a couple of them. There's like a whole tray, and the bakery section is so busy that there is no place for me to do it. So the chefs have decided to put me into the freezer and make me do this job. Okay, so I am under 30, 35, 40 degrees, minus 30, 40 degrees of the freezer with two trays lying in front of me, and I'm piping and icing and doing that. And I kid you not, literally, it was my wake up like aha moment, you know. I was like, this is what I want to do all my life. This is my calling. This is what I love doing. This is what I truly brings me joy. So first things is that, you know, you should be fully aware that you want to do, if you love your job, if you love doing what you do, then there's no stopping by. For me, it's definitely that, like every day for me in my work, I have to, if I have to simplify to you, my work, it was like my wake up juice, you know. It's like my wake up juice. So the day I don't have work, of course, I'm doing a lot more other things, because I actively like to keep myself involved
Right.
as a entrepreneur. And, you know, just there is so much to learn,
Hmm.
right? There is just so much to learn. Aap kuch bhi, pull up a book, you pull up a, you know, just open up your laptop or you just watch a show. There's just so much you can do. So, honestly, on days like that, I'm so like when work is even if it's at its hike and its peak, I really don't mind, because at the end of the day, I'm enjoying it.
Hmm.
I'm fully enjoying it. Like if I'm pulling a 12-hour shift also, I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm enjoying it.
Hmm.
But of course, there are days when you don't this thing. But then on those days, I genuinely, I just voluntarily take it off, because I know I'm not gonna be you know, even stable enough to
Hmm.
take that in hand.
Hmm.
And see, at the end of the day, if you're running a bakery, you're running a brand, you are responsible to your clients.
Right.
You are responsible to your customers. You cannot be shedding your personal problems
Hmm.
onto their products, right?
Right.
At the end of the day. So if you're showing up and if you're doing it, then you do it right. Otherwise, you don't show up. My simple mantra is this.
Hmm.
Like if you're doing it, then you just make sure that you're in it fully well. And when there are days when I'm not in it and I'm not into it, I just turn it off. I just, you know, I'm just like, okay, I'm taking a break today. I don't take only work in hand.
That's good.
Because why screw up somebody else's beautiful
Yeah. Yeah.
party or gathering due to your personal issues that are going on, right?
Hmm.
So I think it's really important to take that balance also off. I
Hmm.
think there are honestly there are like 2 days in a month when I take off, and I'm so relaxed in terms of just, you know, there are just days you want to be by yourself,
Right.
just watch a movie, just
Hmm.
read a book, just you know, go take a walk. So it doesn't have to be that way. It actually helps me bring me back to my work constantly also, you
Hmm.
know. Like I see, if I've taken 2 days off or one day off, then the third day I'm actually looking for, like, okay, now today, you know, we'll work, we'll create, we'll do this, we'll do that, you know. So
Hmm.
those breaks are actually very, very helpful, more than one would understand. You know, if they actually take it themselves, then they'll understand that those breaks are
Yeah.
actually the fuel to your you know, your
Absolutely.
constant showing up every day.
Absolutely. I agree. I think for me, mental health and work-life balance are like the two supremely most important things. Otherwise, you can't function. You better not function than that.
Exactly. In fact, since you mentioned that point, I want to take it off. So when I was in these organizations and when I was working,
Hmm.
we had zero work-life balance. We had zero work-life balance. There was nothing. Like I was pulling 12 hours, 14 hours every day,
Wow. Hmm.
and only to come home,
And
take
sleep.
like a bite of food and sleep. I
Hmm.
would not my family, no social life, no nothing. And I mean, especially these, I don't know how these chefs pull it off, because I mean, working there for whatever time I worked in, you know, whoever chefs I spoke to, they've been working for like 30 years there. And I was like, I couldn't even survive a full year, because at the end of the day, it was monotony that got to me. I
Hmm.
said, I cannot wake up and do the same damn thing every day, in terms of, when I say same damn thing, like, okay, if I'm assigned to a cookie job, then I'll be doing cookie job only every day. I cannot shift to a cake, or I cannot shift to a brownie. So, I mean, that monotony just got to me. And I said, okay, you know what? Drop everything. Drop. This is not, I
Happen.
mean, you know this, you love it, you want it, but you don't want it like this. You
Yeah.
don't want it like this. So eventually, since you spoke about work-life balance, I wanted to just bring this up. Eventually, even I realized I had no work-life balance. By that time, I had zero friends who were even willing to talk to me, because, like, you know, you have to maintain a certain
Yeah.
touch.
Yeah.
You have to be around, you have to interact, right? And if you're not doing any of those things, you're constantly in the organization, just fueling for them and working for them. Where is your life? So I said, okay, I just dropped everything. I went shut. I took an exit from there. I said, you know what? And then I took 2 months off. I said, okay, just to figure things out, you know, what I want. Eventually, like I remember one fine day I was just sitting in a park and I had a piece of paper and pen in my hand, and I said, just ask myself, I said, what is it that you want? Like, what is it that Like, how do you see yourself working at the same time maintaining that balance, right? And it was, and I just started writing in like words, just things that came up to my eye, like, your own brand, this, that, aise kar karke. There were like few words and everything. And I said, okay, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I need. This is what I need to do. And I then it was just clear to me then, because I said, okay, I need to, because in general, as a person, as in nature, I'm very social, like that. I'm a very social person. I'm literally the opposite of introvert. I'll just go, I'll socialize with, and this is something I do. I can shamelessly say I do it every day. Like, I'll take 1 hour every day and go socialize with my friends, because for me, it's a fuel. Honestly, it's a fuel. It helps my creative mind speed up. It helps me, creatively. It helps me in my work. It helps me. See, because at the end of the day, I'm not just a chef, I'm an entrepreneur as well. So there are like various parts of the business that you need to take care of, right? And you cannot be working 24/7. Nobody works 24/7, right? You eventually you do need to take those breaks. So I said, when I was choosing this also, when I came down, when I was with that paper, I said, okay, fine. I know exactly what I want. I want to be able to work in an environment where I'm able to maintain my work-life balance, be social enough, earn a couple of bucks, and also be sustaining as known something as someone who does a good job with her products and her art form. Those were just the key factors that I was like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking at. So today also, if I'm functioning, like the fact that now what we've completed 9 long years in our brand, with Love and Flower. And I'm just so happy the way things have worked out. And honestly, it's just given me so much clarity. And also, I think, even if the fact that you're in your own space, it gives you a lot of bit of comfort. It gives you room for creation. It gives you room to experiment. It gives you room to fail also,
Yeah,
for that matter.
yeah, yeah,
Nobody's going to sit and point fingers at you. Okay, oh, you screwed up.
yeah,
You
yeah,
did this.
totally,
You
totally.
get, you understand?
Yeah, yeah,
So that environment also is very important, where, because such environment, especially workplaces are, I mean, anything but encouraging and supporting. There is so much of manipulation, politics, and I've seen that apparently it's there in all field. It's not just in my field or your field. It's there everywhere. It's subconsciously sitting there everywhere. And when I realized that, I said, this is not me. This is not who I am. I'm not a person who's going to sit and play politics out here. And, I know what I'm bringing to the table. And if somebody can see that, well, great. If they can't, I will end up making this entity by myself if I have to.
that's
Eventually, I mean, I took that oath to myself. I said, okay, if the people around me cannot see how much I'm invested or what I can do, it's fine. I said, I'll one day they will see, and it'll be something that I have built on my own. So today also, when I'm working, at the end of the day, see, I'm working from home. So I have a little bit of flexibility in terms of how to work around
yeah.
things, in terms of taking work in hand. So that's also something which has really helped me in behaving and carving me out as a person that I am today, because if I don't get that correct time of maybe like socializing, or that correct time of just brainstorming, or just even something simple as just watching something on Netflix, just that little bit of extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Because I remember when you're working in hotels, you didn't have time to breathe. Forget do anything else. You don't have time to breathe. It was that chaotic, and it was that, and eventually it's a hierarchy. So pressure is being put from the top, 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 all the way to the people at the bottom. And eventually people at the bottom are being, are at the receiving end. So they are the one who are facing the lashes eventually. So whoever could survive that work, couldn't survive like me, took an exit and eventually branched out, because it gets very, and funny thing is, nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about things like that. Like, even when I was in getting into the industry, nobody said nothing कि ऐसे होने वाला है क्या, ऐसा होता है, लोग ऐसे हैं वैसे हैं. Nothing. You
Nothing.
go and you figure it out by yourself. That's when you understand who is what, who sees you as what, who's your friend, who's your foe. It's literally like that. Corporate life is everywhere,
Yeah.
it's literally everywhere. you know. So it's and it's and that's the thing in general with everyone. Whoever survives the corporate life survives it. Who doesn't survive it takes an exit and finds another way to branch out.
Yeah,
And that's
true.
exactly what I decided to do, because I said I'm not
Many.
you know, it just didn't fit into my, you know, like this thing. I constantly kept feeling claustrophobic, that this is not what I'm designed for. This is not where my true you know, creativity will come out, or you know. And needless to say, my parents, my family, the support system that I have, that really helps you the most, you know, because in most cases uh they everybody is not blessed with such a with a supportive
Mm.
background, or with supportive families or whatever. So you know, eventually they have to um be able to take it up and, you know, just muster into it.
Mm.
But luckily in my case, that was the blessing. Honestly, it was a great blessing, you know. So today also, when I take up work, when I do work, it's like so many people, it's now I mean, it's funny how people didn't know me when I was in hotel, that now people knowing me when I single-handedly built my own thing. Friends, families, relatives, cousins, colleagues, everybody, like, you know, I if I have conversations, people are like, oh, you know, you've really turned things around, you know, you've really done something, you know, I want to be like you. So you're like, you get like, okay, कुछ तो सही किया life में, कुछ तो
Yeah.
थोड़ा सा तो सही किया,
Yeah.
you know, at least. Because how many of us get to hear that, you know, today ki, oh, I want to be like you, I want to, you know, do what you're doing, or I want my journey to be like yours, you know. For
And
me, that's the
that
highlight.
again for 30 seconds is a moment of huge pride and accomplishment that you have done
100%.
something nice. That's it.
Those kind words really fuel me up, to
Oh
be
yeah,
very
yeah,
honest.
for sure.
It really makes you want to do more, makes you want to do better, makes you want to you know. But
Be-
also one thing goes to say is that, you know, people don't understand that it's not a rat race, you
Mm.
know. Like even what I did today, like 9 years into existing into my brand, and now next year inshallah we'll be doing 10 years. So 9 years, 10 years, the great thing about it is that I did it in my own time and pace. I did not you know, like, oh, abhi kar do, abhi, okay, what's next, abhi, what's next. No, I took it patiently. I wanted to take it patiently, because I guess I am that kind of person. If somebody is telling me to do things really fast, and you know, I can easily screw it up. But
Mm.
I have my own time space, I have my own energy, I have my own comfort. That is very important, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe I feel like if people get that, those three four things, you know, in their own you know, in their own life, or in their own way, then I think everyone will have a way of, you know,
Yeah.
paving their way through, and you know, taking their you know, making a name into their into this world, you know, with their own names, right? So that those factors are very, very important.
But
Like
again,
people may be
Sarah,
sidelined.
cutting you here is
Hmm.
rat race is something we don't talk about.
Right,
It's an
right.
invisible plague that we're all rushing in, but no one wants to address that this is happening to me.
That's what,
Everyone is
that's
about it. We
funny.
don't talk
That's
about
really funny why people don't talk about it. And you know, there are so many quotes every day. I read these things that people talk about, that, you know, it's your own life, it's your own, just because somebody else has crossed that hill does not mean you have to. But
But
you know,
people,
again,
yeah.
हाँ, नहीं समझते, नहीं
Especially,
समझते.
I
I
think
think
in
it,
our community, in South Asian community,
yeah, yeah,
race is so
yes, that's true.
intrinsically brainwashed into our system that, after an
Yes.
age, you have to earn this much, you have to buy a house, second house, car.
But you know what? It's also a behavior, conditioning behavior, like they
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's been conditioned into it.
Yeah.
If you are constantly being put or being hearing that, then it will be conditioned into your head, and you will also start thinking like that. So it's very, very important, I think, to kind of be aware. I think if you're aware of sound and mind, I think there can be, like, if you know fully well that, you know, you're aware of it, and you are taking it. I mean, see, at the end of the day, it's, you know, people actually get confused with that, you know, where they say ki acha rat race hai, but you know, what if this person will exceed me, what if that person will exceed me? But at the end of the day, it's your own time, it's your own timeline, and it's your life at the end of the day, right? So if somebody achieves it before you also, that is their achievement, and it's in their own life. Who knows how much is their life, how much is
Oh, yeah,
yours,
of course.
right? So that's something that gets very, very, and you're right, people really don't address this. Everybody brushes this under the carpet. Everybody does it, you know. And I think that for me has really been a blessing, because I was never comfortable in being running into this rat race. I said, I mean, for me, I remember I there have been so many times when I've told myself that, this is your window and nobody is coming in your window except you. You will be creating the window the way you want, at your own time, at your own space. And at the end of the day, you just got to push that energy out. You have to, because then again, it just correlates with like, log kya kahenge, log to kehte hai na,
Everything is into that.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually it's that. But then a lot of people don't understand that. And I think that core behavior starts from us, like, I mean, I'm not this thing, but like tomorrow when I am a parent, I will not tell my child कि अरे नहीं तुमको तो यही करना है, यही करना है, यही करना है. Because our parents have been conditioned to believe that, so they have been bringing that to us. Now is the time, today is the time where times are changing, people are changing, people are voicing out, and there's significant changes happening
Yeah.
everywhere. That's when you're like, okay, you can follow your own path, you can do your own thing, but not everyone is like fortunate that way. And I think just when you understand that thing now, when that particular notion, that point you understand now, it's you actually start taking things very
Different light, in a different light.
very lightly. Yeah, I'll not lightly understand, but very in your like you really you actually start seeing far sighted. You see
It's
aage ka.
an entirely different revelation altogether when you
Yeah,
get.
yes, I absolutely agree.
Sarah, moving on, one important question what I would like to know from you is, in this field of entrepreneurship, how important is it to find a mentor?
Oh, very important. It's very, very important. But
Hmm.
funnily, I can't say that I have had one mentor.
Yeah.
I've had like so many. And the funny thing is that these mentors don't even know that they were mentors. It's just that I have always seen them as mentors,
Hmm.
and yes, it is very important to have a mentor because um at the end of the day, see, someone who is not coming from an entrepreneurial background, even me for that matter, myself, I don't come from an entrepreneurial background. But I think as a person, I'm a very observant person. I am very keen to just, just to take notes, mental notes, and, just observe. So I always do that. And, like I said, like my mentors won't even know that they are mentors, but, the thing is, my relation with them will be something else, but in my head, they are my mentors in a
Hmm.
way, but they don't know about it. It's very important. And as someone who has not come, like my parents are not from an entrepreneurial background. My mom is a homemaker. My dad is like retired. He's living the retired life. So they're not like really into all of that. But I think it's very important to have one because as someone, I mean, I didn't see this with me, but I've seen this in general that people do get very lost. People do get very disoriented from their route of what they are heading towards. A lot of people lack clarity. I Thankfully, I'm blessed that way. I do have a lot of clarity, and I'm very grateful every day for it. But again, those to say, nobody really made me sit today and teach me कि अच्छा ऐसे business करते हैं.
Hmm.
It's just things that I've observed, I've learned, I have taught myself, I have examined, I have watched, I have like constantly, it has been a constant just growing and regrowing and
Hmm.
just evolving. Because honestly, when I was working in these entities of Saj, Oberoi, and all these places, we were just simple chefs who were just told to do our work. We had no know-how of nothing,
Hmm.
no idea of what needs to be done. Today, when I'm handling a brand, honestly, when I started my brand also back in 2015, I did not know anything. I was a clueless bee. But I have to say, I had two very good supportive friends
Hmm.
who really kind of gave me a little bit of direct with whatever knowledge they had,
Hmm.
कि ऐसे कर सकते हैं, ऐसे करना है, ऐसे करना है. So again, goes down to eventually having a good support system,
Yeah.
having good quality of people that that you should be with should needs to be good at
Hmm.
the end of the day, because it doesn't matter if they are rich, they are poor, they are whatever. At the end of the day, their quality, what are their roots
Hmm.
and what are the traits that they are holding. Because the people that I was associated, like who were my friends who helped me out, they were class apart people. There were two guys, two men, surprisingly, two boys who actually helped me with my business. So, but that's what goes to say that, not all,
Not all.
not everyone is the same,
Yeah.
So these two men actually helped me out in a lot of things in terms of how to start a business and, just in general, how to start, like what to do. Okay, today I know I'm a chef, but how do I tell the world that, okay, I am existing? What am I supposed to do? And why will anyone come to me? My first question was that to them. Why will anyone come to me to a brand they don't even know about?
Hmm.
Then eventually you start learning, you start understanding that, okay, you need to start pouring in, you need to start being more genuine, you need to be more legit, that like you have to have a lot of legitimacy, you have to have more referrals. Especially for me, that thing was really helpful. Touchwood, a lot of referrals came my way. Like if somebody ate my cake, at some party gathering, 10 more people had, 8 people would order, 6 people would order, okay, I came to know from this party. So I think at the end of the day, if you're doing something, anything for that matter, just be true to yourself. Just be true to your audience. Uh, uh, One thing that I would like to highlight is that as an entrepreneur, that I usually do is that I always tend to put myself into the customer's place. You
Hmm.
know, like, and when anyone is ordering from me, so I constantly put myself in their place. Like, why? Okay, so if I am this person and this is my requirement, this is what I
Hmm.
want. What would I want to do, or what ideas would I have, or what can I do to satisfy me as a customer? So then I kind of like make a note of those things, and I actually make sure to checkpoint all of them to end to end customer satisfaction. That's very important. I
Hmm.
think if you understand whoever and at the end of the day, see, I'm at the from the service industry. So if you are in that industry, or anything that is providing to people, then at the end of the day you have to know that customer is God. At the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
day, it's that's your that's your mantra. Customer is God. Hindi
I
में
think
बोलते हैं
it's
ना.
universal because when I started my journey as a podcaster, I realized that
Hmm,
if you can't do justice with research with your guest, you can't study up on
hmm,
the guest, then you might as not
hmm.
well speak to the guest because then you're
Speak
doing
to them.
a
Correct.
disservice to the guest who's utilizing their time for you. And so goes
Correct.
for you because you're putting in your heart and soul. You might as well give it to your 200%. So absolutely. Sarah, you've given us a lot of important messages throughout the conversation. So before we wrap it
Thank
up,
you.
Sarah, where can people find you on social media?
So people can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. I also have my own website, www.loveandflower.in, where they can directly place orders from us, and they don't really have to do the whole process of talking to me and everything. If they know what they want, we have a lot of catalog available. They can directly go and order, and they get it on their date, on whatever date they want and time they want. I'm also there on LinkedIn. So I'm quite available everywhere. And honestly, on Instagram, I'm the most available because I'm constantly monitoring my Instagram. And a lot of my work and business comes from Instagram too. Having to say that because content has become king right now
Yeah.
in the changing times that we are living in. Again, if you do scroll through my Instagram, you'll see there are a lot of quality, good content that we post. Even the cakes and the delicacies, the confectioneries that we make daily, we make sure to kind of cover. We always make sure to give credit. So honestly, a lot of that comes from Instagram because a lot of people are watching Instagram nowadays, and immediately they want very immediate response. So I'm always like available on that. And if nothing, then my direct helpline is there, my WhatsApp is there. People can get in touch with me directly from that.
Amazing, Sarah. On that note, thank you. This was such a wonderful conversation, and I can sense your energy, your love for what you do through your words itself. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
wishing you nothing but the best for your future.
Thank you
And
for
to our
having me,
listeners,
Malika.
now pleasure is mine. And to our listeners, this is one of the very early conversations on Awaz-e-Haqiqat. But if you have any thoughts or feedback, please write to me at awazehaqiqat@gmail.com. We are slowly also getting on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll be coming up with more conversations which are not openly discussed, but need to be discussed because we want to untaboo many such conversations that are the time of the hour. So on that note, Sarah, thank you so much. Please keep in touch
Thank
and
you.
thank you.
Love the initiative you're doing. Please keep glowing and growing.
Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
This was great.